These are the solutions for the Chapter 2 free response chapter practice test. And so again, these are very similar to what you're going to experience on the test tomorrow. So let's take a look at the first problem, and it says, which symbol? So we've got some inequality signs. So if I read from left to right, this would be the less than symbol. This would be greater, again, because if I'm reading from the left to right, this is opening towards the left, so that would be greater. Or the equal sign makes this statement true. Well, this is negative 10. This is 19. So again, the negative numbers are on this side, the left side of the number line. The positive values are on the right side. These are the bigger numbers, and these are the smaller numbers. And so anything off to the right is bigger, and 19 is bigger than negative 10. So greater 19 is greater than negative 10, but if I read from left to right, it would be negative 10 is less than 19. So taking a look at our next one, we're supposed to order these integers from least to greatest. So we start with the smallest number, so negative 13. That's the one furthest from 0 in the negative range, and then negative 11, negative 9, and then we get to 0, and then we go to the positives. So 24 is the only positive number we have. Absolute value is the distance to 0 on the number line. So if we're at negative 13, so here's negative 13 over here on the number line, 0 is way over here, the distance from negative 13 to 0 is 13 spaces. And so that's why the answer for any absolute value is just going to end up being a positive number. So 13 is our answer. At 6 a.m., the outside temperature was negative 14 degrees. In the afternoon, the temperature was 12 degrees Celsius. What was the change in temperature? Change means that we're going to subtract two numbers. And so we wanted to find the change in temperature during the day. So let's start with the highest number, 12, and let's take away negative 14. Well, when we subtract, we want to add the opposite. So I'm going to add the opposite here, and I end up adding those two numbers, and I get 26. So the answer is 26 degrees Celsius is the change in temperature for the day. Next it says to evaluate. Evaluate means you're going to substitute. We're going to put 35 in place of any A we see, and we're going to put negative 18 in place of the B. So it's 35 plus negative 18. Well, here we have to subtract the two numbers because they're opposite in sign. And so when I do that, I have to end up borrowing a bit, and I end up with 20, or actually in this case, 2 minus 1 does not make a 2, it makes a 1. So it makes 17. Take a look at our next number here. Find the sum. Sum means we're adding, but here we have opposite signs. So again, opposite signs mean that we'll end up subtracting. So means subtract. So that's what we're going to end up doing here. And so we do 26 minus 18. We got to borrow once more, and this becomes just 8. So 8 is the answer, not negative 8, because we have more positives than negatives. So that determines the sign as the one further from 0. Next one here, evaluate once more. This time we're going to put negative 12 in for an A. So it's going to be negative 12. And we're going to put 36 in place of this B. So minus 36. Well, again, we'll just add the opposite here. And so when I do that, add the opposite, you see how they're the same sign. So same sign means you end up adding. That's the rule. So we'll add those two numbers, and this was again a 36, so that makes a 48, and it's negative because we're going further in the negative direction, so you maintain the sign when you're adding two negatives together. Find the difference. Again, we'll add the opposite here, so you see how we're going to end up adding, because taking away negatives is the opposite of going in the negative direction, so we end up adding those two numbers, and that leaves us at 59. When we multiply, the rule is one negative equals a negative. And then if I had two negatives, it would equal a positive. So that's the rule that we have to remember. And it works with multiplication and division. So this is for multiplying and dividing. And so here we just have one negative, so it makes a negative, and then we just multiply the two numbers. So it's 6. 6 times 15 makes 90. So negative 90 is our answer. Here we want to find the quotient, so it's just a division problem. 12 into 156. And again, it's two negatives, so that's going to make a positive number. Do the division, and we have 3 left over when I do 1 times 12. 12 goes into 36 3 times, so there it is, positive 13. During a game, Thomas lost 11 points. Lost means minus. And won 23 points. That means a positive. Lost 18 points. Thomas started at 0. How many points did Thomas have at the end of the game? We're just going to take the numbers and add them up. Negative 11 plus 23 plus the negative 18. So I like to add all the negative numbers first. So let me fix that. So we have a negative 18 here. Make that look a little more clear. So I've got these two I'm going to combine, negative 11 and the negative 18. So I'll add those together. 18 and 11 make a 29, and that's negative because I'm still adding two negatives together. And then I have to add in that 23. Now I subtract because they're opposite in sign, but I have more negatives than positives, so negative 6 points is what he ended up losing. Or you could say lost 6 points. It's the same thing. Next one, it's asking us to solve an equation. So let's take a look at what we'll do. I'm going to end up, that's a minus sign, so I need to do an opposite operation, so I need to add. Now notice they're opposite in sign now, so I end up subtracting the two numbers, not adding, because they're opposite in sign. I have more negatives than positives, that's why it's a negative 20 as the answer. Over here, it's a g divided by 4, so I'm going to times by 4. Now notice the signs, they're opposite in signs, so that means I end up with a negative number, negative 48. It says Bill withdrew $123. Withdrew means take away 123 from his savings account. The current balance, so this is what the total is right now, that's after he withdrew the money. How much was the balance before withdrawal? Okay, so here's how we set it up. Here's the unknown, so balance before withdrawal. I'll say x equals that amount. So x, and then withdrew $123 equals 456. So there's my equation. Now to solve, I'm just going to add 123 to both sides. So when I do that, add up these numbers, I get 9. This makes a 7 and a 5. So $579 was the amount he had prior to withdrawal. Check part 2 for the rest of the problems.